Hello everyone and thanks for joining again. Today I want to go do a jam with a couple of modules that I have here. I first want to walk you through the patch. Well, I'm not going to explain every cable in detail, but things that might be a little bit unclear, I definitely go into a little bit. So the setup that we have here is like for 90% LEP Loop. LEP Loop is an awesome little firm in Italy that make great modules, according to my own opinion, a little bit weird modules, which I love. To be very honest, I think for a lot of people in modular, they might not be the greatest because they're so very specific. But again, I like them very much because of their very, very distinguished sound. Probably a little bit more difficult to integrate them in a full modular setup with other modules because of their sort of unexpected behavior. But let's see what it brings us today. LEP, by the way, most of you probably will notice is very familiar for their LEP Loop, the box, that basically the synthesizer box that they created a couple of years ago. And there is an awesome video on YouTube here. I can link it in the description of Kink, super techno DJ, house DJ that is actually explaining how he works with the LEP Loop. And we have a couple other videos, a great video also from Cal, who actually gives a total rundown of how the LEP Loop works. And that video saved my life because before that video, I personally, to be honest, had no idea how the LEP Loop worked. Anyway, enough about that. We'll do another video on LEP Loop separately, maybe one day. I mean, it's very hard to top the video that Cal made, but so kudos to you, Cal, if you're watching this. It's just funny to do a jam on LEP Loop and see what that apparatus can do, because it's really really unique as well. So today we have the LEP Loop, or LEP. That's officially the name of the company, actually, not LEP Loop, but LEP. I think it officially stands for Laboratorio Elettronico Popolare, if I pronounce that well in Italian. So we have from LEP, we have the Arpopone here on the left. Then next to that, we have the Multicassa. The Arpopone, by the way, is basically synth, a voice, synth sound. The Multicassa is a drum module. It has a lot of sort of nice integrated drum sounds. 3 in total. And then next to that, I actually added, for some extra spice and flavor for today, Casa, which is basically the kick drum in the LEP lineup. And then next to that, we have the Piattino, and the Piattino is basically a hi-hat module. For this setup, the Casa and the Piattino, they basically drive the whole patch as the very standard techno 4 on the floor, kick, drum beat with a hi-hat, alternating on the 1 1/3. You'll see that obviously soon enough. Next to those two LEP modules, we have a 2HP loop. I'm reasonably new to 2HP, and I'm actually I'm going into 2HP more and more because of this IntelliGel rack that I recently purchased, to see if I can work in a sort of a smaller modular system and see what that does. So far, very happy. Case is awesome. I can definitely advise them for those that either want to start or are already a little bit more experienced in modular, to get the IntelliGel case. Really nice, nifty case. The only drawback here, if I may put that in between very quickly, is, and I think many people have noticed, that is the way how you put the modules in the system, I have to say. Quickly swap your modules in and out is not really easy. You basically have to disintegrate the whole system and then build it up again. But little tip there, for those who haven't thought of that, what I've done, I basically have put in either extension cables or just regular connection cables in the connectors in the back, so that I can leave those just hanging on the bottom here. And then as soon as I pull out a module and I want to swap it for another module, then I don't have to constantly put the cables in and out, and I can just grab the connector, click it onto the module, and then connect the module, so I don't have to disconnect the whole setup. That works much better. Anyway, back to the loop from 2HP. As I already said, I am definitely going to invest more in 2HPs because for a small modular setup as this one, it is really great. And a lot of the modules they have sound awesome, look awesome. And so far, the first module that I got from them here is the loop. And I figured it would be nice. And man, I could not have imagined how nice it actually is. This is a really awesome module. So although the whole system is driven by LEP, mostly, the loop will add some flavor. And especially in this case, it worked out very, very well with Arpopone. Because that's what that's why I use it. I'll go into that in a minute. Next to that, maybe I have to say that loop, for those who are not familiar with it, is a looper. So basically what it does, it records sound and it plays it back immediately. And there are a couple options. I'm not going to explain that module in detail. There are a couple of good explanation videos online if you want to know. But as I said, it's pretty simple. You have an in on the top there that basically gives you an audio in. Then there is a record button that records the sound immediately. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think top of mind that you can like record 4 minutes total. That you can trigger it right there above the record button. So with a trigger, which means that if you record the sound in, then basically it records just a loop, one beat, or sorry, one bar or 2 bars, depending on how you set your gates. That's nice. Then it nicely stays in sync with the rest of your pattern. A couple modes that you can go through. I am using here the Ueberdandy mode. What it basically means is that the recording is actually constantly on. Basically plays the loop on, in this case, the Arpopone, from the Arpopone. So I record a loop from the Arpopone. The recording stays on, but as long as I do not make any changes to the sound, it just plays the loop. And as soon as I change the Arpopone, let's say I raise the pitch, then the bar will be recorded. So there will be a new loop that is exactly the length of the previous loop. So again, everything stays nicely in sync, and the old loop sort of fades out over time. So you get this really nice, smooth transition of like, you make a change, let's say you raise the pitch, and then you lower the pitch again, then you hear the pitch rising in the loop, and then it fades out over time very smoothly and slowly, and it basically goes back to where you release the knob. So you have these really smooth transitions, and yeah, that's just a really great way of working with it. I really love it. And the benefit is obviously that, or maybe not, I don't know, in this case, as you can see, the output of the Arpopone basically goes, I multed there, which is not really necessary actually, but I did that here. The output of the Arpopone actually goes into the loop, and then from the loop it basically goes to the mixer right away. The output from the loop goes to the mixer, so you do not hear the sound of the Arpopone itself. What you basically hear is the loop sound that I recorded and the changes that you make. Anyway, I hope that's clear. If not, leave me a message in the chat, and then I'll try to reply to that. And then next to the loop, we have PAM's Pro Workout. What can I say about that? Basically giving me the clock, gates, everything. I'm not going into that. There is enough said on PAM already in multiple videos. It's a great module. I was a little bit sort of hesitant initially. I only got it a couple months ago. I really like it. I don't like it to an extent that it's like the perfect module or something for me, like a lot of people have with either PAM or MATS. I'm not familiar with MATS, so I can't say anything about that. But I was a little bit like, oh yeah, everybody has PAM, so seriously, do I really need to get it? It's too much of a hype. And as you probably already noticed, I'm not that much into hypes, giving my weird preference for modules here. But I decided to buy it anyway to try it out, having looked at some videos. And yeah, it's great. It's really nice. It's a good module. Definitely, it's very helpful. And in a small modular setup as this one is, it's really, really effective. Here, then on top, we just have a standard line out, the main line out on the right. And then left of that, what you see is a mosaic. But it's just a small 1U mixer. Nothing special. 4 ins, 1 out. I can tweak the knobs, obviously, attenuate the sound signals. So this is just all audio that goes in there. Anyway, so that's the setup. Then on the total left side, for those who are wondering, we have another 1U IntelliGel thing there. I actually never use it, to be honest. It's basically just here in my case to give it a play, so that it's not resting on a desk somewhere getting ruined. But if somebody's interested in it, put your name in the chat, and I'll probably send it to you for free. Happy to get rid of it and give it a better home than it has here. But if you leave me your address, obviously, then I can ship it to you. But anyway, quickly going over the patch. So we have PAM clocking everything on the right here. From PAM, there's a clock going out in the Arpopone. So PAM is the master clock, 160 beats a minute, a high techno beat from PAM clock into Arpopone. Then from Arpopone, the clock is also led to the Multicassa. So basically the Arpopone and the Multicassa are in the same clock. We have a couple of triggers going out in the Multicassa. Reason for that is, and that's with a lot of these LEP loop modules, is that we have a ton of clock dividers. So it's sometimes a little difficult, to tweak everything, and it's very sensitive. So if you make a little tiny change and immediately the beat goes off, or you have another sound or whatever. And I'm not doing that with the Arpopone. I just let that machine run on its own. It's pretty stable. The Multicassa, I thought that it would be nicer just to trigger them instead of let just the clock and the clock division run the module. I might say a couple things wrong here from a technical perspective, but okay, correct me in the chat. That's totally fine. But it just gives a little bit of a more tight sound, for me at least, if I give them a gate. And then I actually can, with PAM, I can actually change the gauge, which then also changes frequency instead of having to wiggle the knobs here, because the knobs are they're good, but sometimes it's a little tricky to get in them with your fingers. So we'll hear that one. As said, then Casa and the Piattino basically just run on a trigger first and third, as already said. And then, yeah, that's basically it. And then the output of the Arpopone, I already mentioned that, goes into the loop, record a loop from there. So the sound that you hear is basically the recorded sound from the Arpopone through loop. And then, yeah, that's how we go with the jam. So let's have fun. Little jam here. Sorry for the long talking and introduction, but I hope that makes it at least clear for some of you. And let's start with a little bit of sound now.